Let me break it down for you. The most interesting thing about ghosts is not the idea that they are dead people. Hear me out. So if we thought of ghosts as less of a real thing and more of a trope, a story trope, now stay with me here, okay? This isn't to like offend people who believe in ghosts or whatever. I'm not sure. I couldn't know. Who could know? But if ghosts were a story trope, the idea that they are always tied to some idea of memory or dead people or what death means, it's like we are not utilizing the full potential of ghosts in our stories. Like, imagine for a second, live in a world where ghosts are not real, where we know that somehow, that, or rather, that ghosts are not the spirits of dead people. Just imagine that. Now, I don't think that would take away all the intrigue of ghosts, not by a long shot. Because suddenly you have the idea of these people and their experiences seeing ghosts, and from what I've seen, what feels like a very genuine experience. That's why I think it would simply be a mistake to disregard ghosts just because you might not believe that dead people can come back to life. Because there's other aspects of this. All these people and the stories they tell and what they felt and saw, that doesn't suddenly become unreal necessarily just because ghosts are not actually physically there in some sense of reality, in some sense of space that we cannot recognize. It would mean that ghosts sort of come from something within us. And that, I think, is a topic worth exploring. Something about fear or very lost memories, perhaps. There's still something about the idea of ghosts that really tells us about what we are, you know. Because there's literal ghosts, and then there's ghosts in the sense of our memories and who's going to remember us and forget us, and we might not know, you know? Because one day it'll be just as hard to prove that we ever existed. Imagine like 200 or 300 years from now, somebody wanting to prove that you existed. You know, can you imagine trying to prove about some person in your ancestry that existed 200, 300 years ago? You could do it, sure, or you might not be able to. You might only have the veilest words or ideas of this person who may have existed. So that's why I think ghosts are much more than just this idea that perhaps we will come back after death. I think ghosts and this discussion are kind of my way of separating out this idea of like a literal reality and this sort of truth, I'd call it, where it's like ideas of what things actually mean. And those can be just as real.